This is a miracle, a slab of polished glass and rare earth metals, forged in fires hotter than magma. It holds the sum of human knowledge. It connects billions of minds in an instant. It is a testament to our power. But this miracle is fragile. Drop it, and it shatters. Submerge it, and it dies. Unplug it, and in a day, it becomes a useless, inert brick. We are a civilization of incredible, fragile complexity. We have built a world of silicon and code, and in our arrogance, we believe we stand at the pinnacle of human achievement. But what if this is an illusion? What if the true super technologies are not in our future, but are buried, silent, and mocking us from our distant past? This is not an investigation into artifacts. We have explored the impossible gears of the Antikythera mechanism. This is an investigation into knowledge. We are opening the lost cookbook of the ancient world, a collection of recipes so advanced, so ingenious, and so completely lost to time that our best modern science still struggles to understand how they ever existed. Today, we are hunting for 5 lost blueprints. The immortal stone of Rome, the nano sword that could cut history, the unquenchable flame of the gods, the impossible, softened fortresses of the Inca, and the granite-cutting paradox that defies the entire timeline of Egypt. These are the technologies of the 0 point, and they are proof that we are not the first. This is our modern world, reinforced concrete, the symbol of our strength. Its lifespan? 50, perhaps 100 years, if we are lucky. It is designed to fail. It crumbles, cracks, and surrenders to the elements. This is the Pantheon in Rome, a 2,000-year-old marvel. Its concrete dome, 142 feet wide, is the largest unreinforced concrete dome in the entire world. It has survived earthquakes, invasions, and the relentless march of time, looking exactly as it did the day it was built. But the true miracle lies in the sea. Roman engineers built massive harbors, breakwaters, and piers directly into the pounding, corrosive salt of the Mediterranean. Our modern concrete would turn to sludge in such an environment within decades. The Roman structures are still there. And here is the emotional trigger point. They are not just surviving. Recent analysis shows they are actually getting stronger. The official story for centuries was simply that the Romans had a good recipe. They used volcanic ash, called pozzolana, and lime. Our modern Portland cement, we were told, was a superior invention. This was a comforting lie we told ourselves. The truth was not uncovered until 2017. A team of scientists, using advanced X-ray and scanning electron microscopes, finally decoded the lost formula. The Romans knew what they were doing. They didn't just find a recipe. They engineered a self-healing material. When seawater seeps into the microscopic cracks of Roman concrete, it triggers an astonishing chemical reaction. The lime and the volcanic ash grow. They sprout interlocking, reinforcing crystals. A rare, incredibly strong mineral called aluminous tobermorite. The ocean, the very force that destroys our modern concrete, is the exact ingredient that heals theirs. The concrete repairs itself. It uses the agent of its own destruction as a catalyst for new life. This is not a recipe. This is nano-engineering. In the 1st century AD, and then, the knowledge vanished. The specific, complex formula was a closely guarded Roman state secret. When the empire collapsed, the formula was not written down. It was not passed on. It simply died. We, the advanced civilization, have spent the last 1,500 years building weaker, inferior, temporary structures, while the Roman blueprints for immortality lay dormant, locked inside the very stones they built. It forces us to ask, what other lost chemistry have we mistaken for primitive building? It is the stuff of legend, the blade of Saladin, the ultimate weapon of the Crusades, a sword so sharp it could supposedly cut a silk scarf as it fell through the air, a blade so impossibly strong it could cleave an enemy's iron sword in two, yet suffer no damage. It was defined by its iconic, swirling, watering pattern. It was Damascus Steel. For centuries, this was dismissed as mythology, a myth. Blacksmiths, even the greatest masters, tried to replicate it. They failed. They could forge blades with a pattern, a technique we now call pattern welding, but they could not replicate the properties. The blades they made were brittle. They snapped. The original, legendary combination of flexibility and an indestructible, razor-sharp edge was lost. The secret was not unlocked until the 1980s and confirmed in the 2000s. It required a tool the ancient swordsmiths never had: a scanning electron microscope. The official story was that it was a lost forging technique. The truth is that it was a lost material. The original blades were forged from a unique crucible steel, shipped from India, known as woots. And when scientists looked at this woot steel under extreme magnification, they found the emotional trigger point. The steel was not just steel, it was a nano-composite. The ancient smiths, through a precise, ritualistic process of heating and cooling, had, entirely by accident, or perhaps by a lost, empirical science, grown carbon nanotubes and cementite nanowires. These nanostructures reinforced the blade at a molecular level, giving it an impossible combination of superplasticity and hardness. This was not blacksmithing. This was nanotechnology in the 12th century. So why did it vanish? Why was this super technology lost? The answer is as tragic as it is simple. The knowledge wasn't lost. The source was. Sometime in the mid-18th century, the specific mines in India that produced this unique, impurity-rich Woots ore ran dry. The new ore didn't have the same chemical signature. The recipe, which had relied on those trace elements, suddenly stopped working. The magic was gone. A nanoscale technology, which formed the basis of an empire's military might, vanished from the earth forever. Because a single vein of rock was depleted, we have found a technology lost to geology. But what about a technology that was deliberately hidden? A weapon so terrifying, its secret was guarded until the civilization that built it took it to the grave? You are still with us, which means you are beginning to see the cracks in the official timeline. You have seen a chemistry that defies time and a metallurgy that defies scale. But our next lost technology was not passive. It was not a tool. It was a weapon of such profound psychological terror. It held an entire empire together for centuries, and its secret is still lost. The year is 672 A.D. The Byzantine Empire, the last remnant of Rome, is besieged. A massive Arab fleet sails on Constantinople. The city should have fallen, but the Byzantines had an ace in the hole, a technology that did not belong in the Dark Ages. They called it Greek fire. The accounts are unambiguous. It was a liquid flame, sprayed from pressurized siphons mounted on the front of their ships. It ignited on contact. It stuck to hulls and to men. And here is the impossibility. It could not be extinguished by water. Water fed it. It burned on the sea. It was the medieval equivalent of napalm. And it was a complete tactical paradox. What was it? The official story is that there isn't one. We have no idea. Greek fire was the most closely guarded state secret in human history. The formula was known only to the emperor and to a single, trusted family of technicians who manufactured it. To reveal the secret was death. Modern science can only guess. It was almost certainly petroleum-based. Crude oil, or naphtha, giving it its sticky liquid quality. A thickener, like pine resin, but the unquenchable, water-hating property? That is the mystery. Was it quicklime, which reacts violently with water, creating its own heat? Was it saltpeter, giving it its own oxidizer, allowing it to burn without air? Was it phosphorus? We simply do not know. And the technology was not just the liquid. It was the system. This was not a bucket of flaming pitch. This was a complex, bronze-plated, pressurized weapon. It required pumps, siphons, and nozzles. It was a complete, man-portable, naval chemical weapons system in the 7th century. And then, just like the others, it vanished. The secret was kept too well. When Constantinople finally fell to the Fourth Crusade in 1204, the technicians were killed. The infrastructure was destroyed. The knowledge was erased from the earth. A technology so powerful it saved an empire was lost forever because it was too well guarded. But what about a technology that wasn't hidden in a vault, but was hidden in plain sight? A technology derived not from chemistry, but from biology? We have been here before. The fortress of Sacsayhuaman, a masterpiece of megalithic engineering. We have all asked the question, how? How did they move 100-ton blocks? But we have been asking the wrong question. The true mystery is not the moving, it is the fitting. Look at these stones. They are not cut. They are molded, polygonal, multi-angled, bizarre shapes, locked together with a precision so perfect you cannot slide a razor blade between them. There is no mortar. The official explanation is one of the most absurd, unscientific theories in modern archaeology. It is called scribing and pounding. The theory states that the Inca, or their predecessors, would lift a 100-ton boulder, pound it onto the stone below, to leave an impression, lift it again, chip away at the impression with a river cobble, and repeat this process thousands of times. This theory is not just slow, it is a logistical and physical fantasy. It is an insult to the evidence. The evidence does not show chipping, it shows something else. The 0-point evidence comes from the lore, the legends the conquistadors recorded, and that locals still tell. The myth is not of pounding, it is of a liquid. The legends speak of a bird, the peto, that used the juice of a specific unknown plant to dissolve the rock and build its nest. They speak of a lost formula that could turn stone. This is the heretical theory, the theory of lost biochemistry. What if the myth is not a myth, but a manual? What if the builders of Sacsayhuaman were not just master stonemasons, but master biochemists? What if they had discovered a plant, an acid, a complex poultice that could chemically dissolve the crystalline structure of andesite, allowing them to mold it, to press the stones together like clay, only to have them reharden into a perfect, seamless fit? The glassy sheen found on many of the blocks is not the mark of a pounder. It is the chemical residue of a reaction. This would explain everything: the speed, the precision, the bizarre, organic shapes. It suggests the ancients had mastered a branch of science, biological engineering, that we have completely and tragically forgotten. This implies a deep, ancient knowledge of the Earth's biology. But what if our final technology implies a knowledge not of biology, but of physics, A knowledge so profound, it simply should not exist? If you have made it this far, you have accepted that our past is not what we were told. You have seen self-healing concrete, nanotech steel, chemical superweapons, and biological engineering. But this final technology, this is the one that breaks the timeline completely. This is the 0 point, the location. Ancient Egypt, the Great Pyramid, the Valley Temple, the Serapeum, the material, Aswan granite, one of the hardest stones on Earth. The official story, the one taught in every textbook, is that the Bronze Age Egyptians, using nothing but copper saws, copper drills, and wet sand, quarried, moved, and carved these 100-ton masterpieces. This is the greatest lie of all. This theory is not just unlikely. It has been disproven. We have tried it. Copper is one of the softest metals, A3, on the Mohs hardness scale. Granite is one of the hardest, A7. You cannot cut granite with copper. The sand, quartz, would embed in the soft copper, not act as an abrasive. It is a physical impossibility. The true evidence, the emotional trigger point, was uncovered by engineer and researcher Christopher Dunn. He did not guess. He measured. He measured the tubular drill cores left behind by the ancient builders, and what he found annihilates the official story. The spiral grooves on the cores show a feed rate, how fast the drill sank into the solid granite, that is 500 times faster than a modern, industrial, diamond-tipped drill. Let me repeat that. 500 times. The internal corners on the sarcophagi in the Great Pyramid are perfectly square. A saw, no matter how advanced, leaves a radius. It cannot make a perfect internal corner. This was not a brute force technology. You do not sand your way to this level of precision. This was a finesse technology. This was energy. This is the heretical theory of lost physics. What if the builders were not sawing at all? What if they had mastered sound? What if they used harmonic resonance? What if they used a device, a sonic drill, that emitted a specific frequency, vibrating the quartz crystals in the granite so violently that the stone shattered at a molecular level, allowing a simple tool to advance as if it were cutting cheese? This is not Bronze Age technology. This is not Iron Age technology. This is something else. A technology that suggests a completely different and far more advanced understanding of the laws of physics. Self-healing concrete, nanotechnology, advanced chemical weapons, bioengineering, and vibrational physics. Nano, these are not the scattered tools of primitive ancestors. They are the surviving chapters from the library of a lost, brilliant, and sophisticated world. The official story of a straight line of progress is broken. History is not a line, it is a cycle, a series of peaks and devastating valleys. We are not the pinnacle of humanity, we are the survivors. A civilization with amnesia, desperately fumbling in the dark, trying to reread the blueprints of a library that burned thousands of years ago. We have investigated 5 lost technologies, but the library is vast. What other lost super tech do you believe is real? The acoustic levitation of the ancients? The impossible power source of the Baghdad battery? Let us know your theory in the comments below. And if you believe that the blueprints of our past are the keys to our future. The investigation has only just begun.